Hi, I'm Alina, and this is the story of how I learned that some people believe they're above the rules, that their ambition justifies any manipulation. For years, I dedicated myself to building a thriving esports team, pouring my strategy and passion into every win, only to discover that our charismatic captain, Alex, was rigging matches for personal gain. This is the story of how I uncovered his deception and brought true justice back to the game. I still remember the thrill of launching Nexus Rising, my dream esports team. I was a veteran competitive gamer, known for my strategic mind and ability to spot raw talent. After years as a pro player, I decided to shift gears and become a team manager and strategist. Alex, our team captain, was a natural leader, incredibly skilled, and with a captivating personality that drew in fans and sponsors alike. He was the face of the team, the one who rallied the players and delivered inspiring interviews. "Alina, your strategies are genius," he told me, his eyes gleaming with ambition. "With you behind the scenes and me leading the charge, we'll dominate the circuit." Naively, I believed him. We quickly became a formidable duo in the competitive gaming world. The early days were intense. We trained tirelessly, analyzing opponents, refining tactics, and pushing our limits. I handled all the strategic planning, scouting new talent, and ensuring our players had the best possible equipment and mental support. Alex, with his phenomenal in-game mechanics and confident presence, led the team through countless victories, building a massive fanbase. He was a magnet for media attention, always articulate and passionate about the game. My former coach, an old-school legend named the Oracle, often gave me subtle warnings. "Alex has a hunger, Alina," he'd cautioned. "Make sure it's for victory, not just for glory." But I dismissed his concerns, attributing them to the competitive nature of the scene. Nexus Rising soared to the top. Within 2 years, we were winning major tournaments, securing lucrative sponsorship deals, and our team house was buzzing with energy and dedication. Alex, ever the showman, reveled in the spotlight. He was constantly live streaming, signing autographs, and featured in gaming magazines. "Our success is a testament to unwavering teamwork," he'd always say in interviews, conveniently downplaying the hours I spent meticulously dissecting opponent replays and crafting our unique playbooks. I, on the other hand, was content to let our win record speak for itself. I believed that true skill and honest competition were their own rewards. The first hint of trouble came subtly. During critical matches, Alex started making strange, uncharacteristic decisions, small misplays that cost us crucial rounds, followed by incredibly flashy, high-risk plays that would barely pull us back from the brink. Then came the betting anomalies. Odd spikes in betting patterns on Nexus Rising matches, particularly for specific, unusual in-game events. When I questioned him, he'd dismiss it with a casual shrug. "Just bad luck, Alina. You can't control everything. We're human." He always had a smooth answer, a confident smile, and a reminder of our overall win record. And I, wanting to believe the best in my team captain, pushed the nagging doubts aside. After all, he was a star player, and pressure could make anyone glitch. 3 years into Nexus Rising's dominance, we were preparing for the grand finals of the World Championship, the pinnacle of our sport. This would cement our legacy. That's when Alex decided to bring in his longtime online friend, Kai, as the team's new performance analyst. Kai was quiet, almost furtive, spending all his time glued to a second monitor in our team room. "He's a genius at crunching stats, Alina," Alex assured me. "He'll give us the edge we need for Worlds." I had a bad feeling about Kai from the start. He avoided eye contact, and his analysis seemed suspiciously focused on predicting specific in-game actions rather than overall strategy. But Alex insisted, and as captain, his word carried weight, especially with the other players. With Kai on board, the misplays became more frequent and more impactful, yet always seemed to be followed by dramatic comebacks that saved the match but resulted in very specific, highly improbable outcomes. When I confronted Alex, his demeanor hardened. The charming smile was replaced by a cold, calculating stare. "Alina, you're just getting paranoid," he'd said, his voice laced with an unfamiliar harshness. "This is high-stakes competition. You, as a strategist, just wouldn't understand the pressure we're under." His words stung, but I pushed harder. "I understand patterns, Alex. And these patterns suggest something is very wrong." He simply shrugged, his expression unreadable, and walked away. Then came the pre-grand finals press conference, a massive event broadcast live to millions of fans worldwide. Alex had orchestrated it, emphasizing its importance for the team's image. I arrived early, feeling a profound sense of dread. Alex and Kai were already there, looking unusually smug. As the room filled with journalists, team owners, and competitive gaming legends, Alex stepped onto the podium with his usual magnetic presence. "Good morning, fans and fellow competitors," he began, his voice booming with practiced confidence. "Nexus Rising stands on the cusp of true legendary status. And to honor our journey, I'm proud to announce a significant restructuring of our leadership." My heart pounded. Restructuring? What was he talking about? Effective immediately, Alex continued, his eyes sweeping over the camera lenses. "Intentionally avoiding mine, I will be taking on the role of player owner and lead strategist. Kai, my indispensable performance analyst, will be appointed as the new team manager. This move will provide the unified, decisive leadership that a top-tier esports organization truly demands." A cold dread washed over me. This wasn't just about restructuring, this was about consolidating their control and pushing me out. "For too long," Alex added, his voice dripping with false concern, "our potential has been hampered by, shall we say, an overly rigid approach to gameplay. While Alina has been commendable in her analytical contributions, her focus has remained too narrowly on traditional tactics. To truly innovate and secure our dominance, we need a leader with a bolder vision, someone who understands the new meta, the psychological aspects of high-level play, and the evolving landscape of competitive integrity." The journalists exchanged confused glances, their cameras flashing. I sat there, stunned, as Alex continued his thinly veiled character assassination. "Some people," he said, now looking directly at me, a condescending smirk playing on his lips, "are simply better suited for the back end, for data entry. Alina's talent lies in her spreadsheets, not in leading champions. Her old-fashioned ideas and lack of aggressive innovation have become a liability. It's time for her to gracefully step aside from any significant strategic roles within the team." The room was silent, the air thick with unspoken judgment. Every eye was on me, waiting for my reaction. I could feel the pity, the schadenfreude, the silent condemnation. Everything I had built, every strategy one had perfected, every ounce of passion I had poured into Nexus Rising, was being stripped away in front of everyone I knew. My mind raced, a whirlwind of anger and disbelief. Alex had orchestrated this, meticulously, cruelly. The strange plays, the betting anomalies, Kai's presence, it all clicked into place. They had been systematically isolating me, preparing for this very public betrayal. I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the polished floor, the sound echoing through the press conference room like a gunshot. Everyone expected a scene, tears, an outburst, maybe even a desperate plea. Instead, I simply walked to the podium, picked up the grand finals trophy that was on display, and calmly placed it on the floor at Alex's feet. "Enjoy your trophy, Alex," I said, my voice steady, betraying none of the turmoil raging inside me. "But remember, true victory isn't about winning at all costs. Then, without another word, I turned and walked out, leaving behind the stunned silence and the lingering questions in the opulent hall. That night, as I sat in my small apartment, surrounded by the strategic white boards and gaming equipment that bore my mark, I made a decision. Alex thought he had one, but he had forgotten one crucial detail, something that would turn his moment of triumph into the biggest mistake of his fraudulent career. As I powered up my laptop and began typing, a small, grim smile played on my lips. Tomorrow would be interesting indeed. After all, there's more than one way to play the game, and I had learned more in years of honest competition than Alex had learned in all his years of deceptive plays and manipulative schemes. The next morning would bring changes that none of them saw coming, changes that would make them realize exactly how truly indispensable integrity really was. The next morning dawned bright and clear. I arrived at the Nexus Rising team house early, before anyone else, and waited. Precisely at 9 a.m., Alex strode through the front doors with Kai by his side, both wearing triumphant smiles that were about to be wiped from their faces. Alina? Alex's voice held a mix of surprise and annoyance. What are you doing here? I thought after last night you'd have the dignity to stay home. I smiled, remembering the detailed dossier I had sent at 3 a.m. to the Esports Integrity Commission, ESIC, our major sponsors, and the top gaming news outlets. Just wrapping up some loose ends, Alex, dear, I said sweetly. But since you're here, we should probably talk about the team's future. There's nothing to discuss, Alex interjected, his voice firm. Kai and I are in charge now. The organization has already approved it. Ah, yes, the organization, I said, pulling out my tablet. Let's talk about that. You see, while you were busy rigging matches and manipulating bets, I was actually building an ironclad case. And there are a few things you both seem to have forgotten. I pulled up a document on the living room's main screen, connected to the large team monitor. First, let me remind you that the proprietary match analysis software we use, the one that logs every player's in-game statistics and decision-making, it's not owned by Nexus Rising. It's owned by Alina's Tactical Insights LLC, a company I quietly established 2 years ago. Nexus Rising only has a licensing agreement, which expires, I checked my watch, about 10 minutes ago, along with all the historical data logs that conclusively prove your match-fixing patterns. The color drained from both their faces. Kai's eyes widened, and Alex's usually confident posture seemed to sag. That's impossible, Alex whispered, his voice barely audible. You would never have caught us. And that's not all, I continued, pulling up more documents. Those anonymous tips about unusual betting patterns, and the testimony from the third-party betting watchdog groups? They weren't just tips, they were meticulously documented evidence of specific in-game actions correlating with suspicious financial transactions, complete with video evidence and time-stamped communications. And they were all submitted to Essex Anti-Corruption Unit last night. Remember those strategic misplays you made, Alex? The ones that seemed to set up incredible comebacks but always resulted in very specific, high-payout outcomes for certain bets? My former coach, the Oracle, who you dismissed as old-fashioned, has a very keen eye for a fixed game and a commitment to competitive integrity. Alex collapsed onto a sofa, his face slack with dawning realization. The performance analysis, the one you brushed off as paranoia? Yes, that one, I said. It was just the tip of the iceberg. Kai's face contorted with unadulterated panic. You backstabbing little, careful, Kai, I cut him off. You might want to hear the rest before you finish that sentence. While you were busy announcing my supposedly graceful exit last night, I was ensuring that every major esports news outlet and our top sponsors had all the evidence they needed for today's breaking headlines. You see, fan trust, unlike your illicit gains, cannot be bought. Last night, I ensured the gaming world finally knew the truth about their champion and his performance analyst. I pulled up my phone, showing dozens of notifications from major esports media outlets and team organizations already breaking the story. Would you like to know how many lifetime bans from competitive play are already being issued by ESIC? Or how many of your major sponsors have already announced the immediate termination of their contracts with Nexus Rising and the initiation of legal action for fraud? The room fell silent. Through the glass walls, we could see the other team members gathering, whispers spreading as they checked their phones, their faces a mixture of shock and profound disappointment. Alex's perfect composure cracked as he frantically checked his phone, only to see it flooded with calls from desperate sponsors and angry tournament organizers. "You can't do this," he stammered, his voice trembling. "My career, our legacy, your career and legacy ceased to exist the moment you decided to cheat the game and humiliate someone who genuinely believed in fair play," I finished for him. "The one you thought you could just push aside because I focused on strategy, not scandal. That illusion of dominance you built, it's crumbling right now." I stood up, smoothing my shirt. "So, here are your options. Option 1, you are publicly exposed by ESIC, face a lifetime ban from all competitive play, and likely face criminal charges for sports betting fraud, losing everything." Alex's face was ashen. "And option 2, he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Option 2, you both issue a full public confession of your match-fixing scheme, detailing every fraudulent act and every co-conspirator, in exchange for ESIC reducing your ban to a 10-year suspension, avoiding immediate criminal charges, though civil lawsuits from sponsors will still proceed. You lose your prize money, your reputations will be in tatters, but you might have a chance at a different life in a decade. Kai will also receive a similar plea bargain if he cooperates. And I, Alina, will publicly commend your courage in admitting your wrongdoings." Kai's face had turned an interesting shade of green. "You planned this all along, didn't you? You've just been waiting for the right moment to destroy us." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "No, Kai. I spent years trying to be an honest, dedicated manager and strategist while you both took me for granted. I built this team on skill and integrity, not on deceit, while you collected illicit gains. I only planned this," I checked my watch again, "about 12 hours ago, after you called my dedication a liability in front of everyone we know. ESIC investigators are outside right now, awaiting my signal. Time's running out. What's it going to be?" The next hour was a blur of paperwork, ESIC agents, and signed confessions. By noon, I sat alone in what was now a quiet, strangely empty team house, looking out at the city. The team, once tainted by corruption, was now truly ours again, the community's. But the victory felt bittersweet. Trust shattered like a shattered screen. The Oracle, my former coach, came to see me that evening, a weary but proud smile on his face. "Did it have to end this way, Alina?" he asked softly. "They gave me no choice, coach," I replied, my voice gentle but firm. "They would have continued to corrupt the game and betray the fans, without a second thought." He nodded slowly, understanding but somber. "What happens now?" I showed him the plans I had already drawn up, a complete rebuilding of Nexus Rising with new, honest talent, stricter integrity protocols, and a renewed focus on fair play. Now, we would build something even stronger. A team truly dedicated to the spirit of competition, but this time, we'd do it without having to carry people who saw esports as just a means to cheat. Over the next year, the newly reformed Nexus Rising, under my sole management, slowly began to rebuild its reputation. Our new team, built on raw talent and unwavering ethics, surprised everyone by making it to the semifinals of a major regional tournament. Alex and Kai were banned from competitive play, their names forever synonymous with scandal, their careers destroyed. We see each other only through grim news reports of their downfall, a polite distance that masks the wounds that may never fully heal. Sometimes, late at night, I look at old photos of the original Nexus Rising team and feel a twinge of sadness for the dreams we once shared. But then I remember that press conference, the look of disdain on Alex's face, the way he dismissed my commitment to integrity. In gaming, and in life, true victory is earned, not stolen. He learned that lesson too late. As for me, I learned that sometimes, the quiet ones, the ones meticulously analyzing the data, are the ones you should watch out for. Because we're the ones who know how to build a case, how to uncover the truth, and how to bring down even the most celebrated figures when they betray the spirit of fair play. My story spread through the esports world, a cautionary tale about underestimating the wrong person. These days, when I attend tournaments, I often catch whispers, "That's Alina, the one who," they never finish the sentence, but they don't have to. The revitalized Nexus Rising and the unwavering integrity of our new team speak for themselves. Last week, I received an invitation to speak at the Global Esports Summit on fair play and ethical leadership. The topic? Beyond the win, the true value of competitive integrity. I accepted the invitation with a small smile, already planning my speech. After all, I have quite a story to tell. The team continues to thrive under its renewed commitment to honesty, but more importantly, I found peace with my decisions. Sometimes, the strongest message you can send is simply proving people wrong. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't about destroying others. It's about rising so high that they can't help but see their own mistakes and the damage they caused. As I write this from the newly redecorated team house, overlooking our players practicing with renewed passion, I'm reminded of something. The Oracle once told me, "The game always knows who played it true." He was right. I've moved past the need for revenge now. These days, I focus on building something truly meaningful, something that will outlast all the petty cheats and self-serving ambition. I still keep a copy of that initial ESIC report, a reminder of why I started and why I will never stop fighting for what's right. Until then, it serves as a reminder that our greatest strengths often come from the very things others underestimate about us.